this, well, longest running radio show in just a few minutes, and where MAGA comes to talk. So a lot going on, a lot happening. If you're new to the stream, welcome. We will be live on the air in minutes, and I'll be taking your live calls. We're going to talk about all this ridiculous no kings BS that the liberals are trying to get going, which is the dumbest thing they could possibly do. I don't know who convinced them that this no kings thing was a good idea, because whatever a good idea is, this is the opposite of that, right? I mean, there's just nothing good going to come out of the no kings for the liberals. You know, for Trump, it's a great help to the MAGA movement in our great country. That's for sure. You know, I mean, that's obvious. We can see that. Mm-hmm. Yes, we meet again. There we go. Yeah, the number to call in toll free is pinned in the live chat. This is, where are we? All right, where am I? Okay. We have 4 minutes until showtime. Four minutes till showtime. Absolutely. Oh yes, it's a MAGA morning. That is for sure. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. This is where MAGA comes to talk. 3 minutes until showtime. We'll be live in 3 minutes. Two minutes until showtime. Roy, $5 super sticker. Thank you so much, Roy. Yes, thank you, Roy. Greatly appreciated. Now, those of you that are watching on this stream, we're going to be live in 1 minute and 15 seconds. I have 2 streams going. The stream you're watching with this green screen behind me, you'll be able to hear me and the callers fine with no problem. The audio sound bites I play, the visuals that I show, you have to go to the other stream for that. On the other stream, you get the full benefit of the green screen effect, and I'll start that stream right before we go live. But on this one, you do hear the callers perfectly, and you hear me perfectly, but not the audio sound bites, and you don't get to see the visuals, obviously. This is kind of the behind the scenes. Oh yeah, 33%. Yeah, among Democrats, 38% among Democrats. I'm going to sit here and break down these fake polls. All right, stand by. Welcome to the program, everyone. My name is Brian Craig. You are listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977, celebrating 48 years on the radio. All right, we got a lot to cover today, and a lot of things are happening. And I'm going to start right out the box here, and your calls certainly are welcome, toll-free, no matter where you are tuned in to us, at 888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call, 888-465-2631. Okay, so this No Kings protest over the week, you know, I heard about this No Kings event for the first time when I got a caller on the air. It was a lady from Miramar. For all I know, she's one of the organizers for the Miami No Kings, and she was trying to get the word out, which she did. That's fine. I don't mind in this instance. The No Kings national protest that is being organized, this is so corporate, right? It really is. And what I mean by corporate, it's obvious that there's big money and big organization behind it. They must really be on fumes with USAID shut down. They must really be scraping for the pennies to put this together. But this is, the No Kings is a national protest. It's going to be all over the place. I was watching the local news in Broward early this morning, one of the Broward County news stations, and they were actually from the spot where the Fort Lauderdale, Broward County No Kings protest was going to be. I'm not going to tell you where, but if you know, you know. So not only is there a lot of money being poured into the social media promotion of it, there's money being put into advertising this, big money. You know, the local news, not all of it, but most of the local... Do you guys watch the local news? I do, because, you know, I like true crime. So I watch the local news because I like to see the crime stories here in South Florida. And I tune in for the weather so I can see what the local weather report is. So I do watch local news, and I have all my life. But local news, most of it, again, not all of it, but most of the local news, it's infomercials. Disguised, it's commercial advertisement disguised as a news story. It's amazing to me. You'll be watching your local news, and they'll do a story on a local moving company. That's paid advertisement. You know, they do this constantly, and the same goes for a lot of the people that you see that are even many that are conservatives. You see a lot of people, I'm not going to go through a list of names now, okay? But there's a lot of people that are really famous because they pay for television interviews. All right? And that's just a thing that's done. And the local news, I'm curious about this because I don't know. This No Kings thing sprung up and everyone's talking about it on a dime. local news outlets around America are already, they're not just reporting on it, but, there's nothing to report because the event hasn't happened yet. What they're doing is they're promoting the event that's coming up on Saturday. And this one local, I've seen more than one local news story with this, by the way, not just the one I saw that was showing the Broward location, but there are local news outlets, local television news around America doing reports, and they'll have a reporter on the scene where the No Kings protest will be on Saturday. And they tell you exactly where it is, so you know where to go. That's not news because the event hasn't happened yet. That is an infomercial. These news stories that they're doing in advance. Now, if they're there at the event and they're showing these lunatics out there screaming and all of their perversions going on, that's a news story. But when you're there before the event, in fact, days before the event, 3-4 days before the event, and you're like, this is where it's going to be on Saturday at whatever time, I wonder, is that paid advertisement or is it news? I don't know, but I do for sure. How could we know? They're not going to tell us that it's a fake news story. But you know what I mean about local news. They'll do a story on a woman who's just started a restaurant. And she's paid for that, right? She's buying spots on the TV station, and part of that is to get a news story done on it. This is what they do. And I'm wondering if these No King stories on the local news throughout America is that. Are these paid infomercials advertising the location where to go Saturday? You got to wonder, right? And this is what the left do. The left are not organic. I want to tell you a quick story. I've told this on the air before, but not for a long time, to illustrate the point. And then what I'm going to get into today is what the liberals are up to right now with this No Kings and a whole bunch more, okay? This happened, this was one of the big awakenings for me about how fake the Democrats are. I was already a conservative, but what I mean is, when I realized how fake the news was, before Donald Trump started calling it fake news, we knew it was fake. We just didn't call it fake news. We used to, on this program, years ago, do a lot of shows on gun control. This was during the Clinton era. We had a lot of people on talking about gun control. It was a big thing. The Million Mom March. After Columbine, gun control became a big issue. We would have people on from the Million Mom March, the Center to Prevent Handgun Violence, the Brady Foundation. There were a whole bunch of them. There were 5 or 6 nationally known grassroots, in quotation marks, gun control organizations. And when George W. Bush became president, we didn't talk about that anymore. But it was no longer an issue because it wasn't going to happen with a Republican president, and the issue was dropped. And then Obama became president, and there was some issue. I don't remember what the particular issue was, but gun control became an issue again. So Steve said, why don't we, bring in one of these gun control activists that we used to have on and talk about it. So I dusted off my old contact list of these different organizations. And to make a long story short, I went right down the line. The Million Mom March, the Brady Center. Remember Brady who got shot by Hinckley. The Center to Prevent Handgun Violence. And there were a couple of others. I don't remember all the names. I called each of them. The same person answered the phone at every one of them. Bush was president for 8 years. Gun control wasn't discussed. They weren't doing anything. The same guy answered the phone at each gun control organization, including the Million Mom March. And by the time I got to the 3rd or 4th one, I said, I keep calling, why are you answering? And he told me, well, all the numbers are forwarded here. And then he didn't want to tell me much more because I caught on to him. And I realized the entire gun control movement was a lie. Million Mom March, just a bunch of moms who got together and formed this. It's all lies. And liberals, the Democrat Party, form these fake activist groups, and they form a whole bunch of them to make it look as if there's a large grassroots effort against whatever the Republican in office is doing, and that there's this huge grassroots effort in favor of whatever it is they're doing. And I've come, and so the entire gun control movement was a lie. There was never a grassroots national gun control movement in this country. It was all a lie, I found out. I found out the same thing about, in great detail, about the Vietnam War protest. I always forget this guy's name. What's that left-wing jerk that makes all those documentaries for PBS? Oh, he's on MSNBC sometimes bashing Trump. He did one on prohibition. He did one on baseball, the Civil War. Burns. Okay, you know what I'm talking about? Burns. He does very, and he's a liberal jerk, but he does some very, Ken Burns is his name. And Ken Burns, he does very good documentaries. His one on the prohibition will blow your mind away. I mean, it just was amazing. That's his best, the one on prohibition. In particular, Life in America Before Prohibition. But anyway, he did a documentary a number of years ago that didn't get all the fanfare or publicity on the Vietnam War. And one of the, it was mostly about the war itself, but he did one segment that was just on the protest movement. And the protest movement, in its peak, was 67, 68. There were Vietnam War protests in every state of the Union. And for you liberals out there, that's 50 states, okay? There was a protest in each one of our 50 states against the Vietnam War. A mass movement. The marches on Washington. People camped out at the Lincoln Memorial. You know the stories. Mass protest against the Vietnam War in all 50 states. It was a presidential election year. Who won the presidency that year? Who won the presidency that year? Richard Nixon. And not only did Richard Nixon win, he won 49 of the 50 states, and he was reelected. So the Vietnam War protest, like that gun control movement, fake, put up by the left, paid for, like this one's being paid for by China and others in that Walmart era's Vietnam War protest paid by leftists, but the Soviet Union, China's paying for some of these protests going on today. All of these liberal movements are always fake. They are never grassroots. This No Kings sprung up like in 3 days. And I'm pretty up to speed on the news. I did not hear about it until that lady called up from Miramar. And I'm telling you, I don't know who she was. She's never called before. She hasn't called since. And she might deny it if she called today. But she very well might have been one of the South Florida, Miami organizers for the No Kings trying to get the free publicity. And she did because I talked about it that day. But even if she didn't call, I'd be talking about it today. So this No Kings thing is, even though it's going to be nationwide, it is not organic. It is very corporate. It's being backed by big leftist money. And these local news stories covering it before the event. Now on Saturday, this is where it's going to be. Really? Come on. That's not a news story. That's a commercial. So we're going to take our first break. I certainly would like to hear your thoughts and your opinions on all of this. Our number is toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call no matter where you're listening, 888-465-2631. And I'm going to break down this whole thing. We're going to talk about this incredible military parade that the president has organized on the 14th as well. My name is Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. We'll be right back. If you're on hold, hang in there, guys. You can rewind Girl Interrupted if you want and catch the beginning. Oh boy, yeah, it is. Nothing starts this quick on its own. This is the fakest thing I have seen since that gun control thing back in 2008. If you're on hold, hang in there, and if you're new to the program, make sure that you subscribe. If you want to call in, the number is pinned in the live chat. If you're watching live, you can give me a call. It's a toll-free number. no matter where you are watching. Yeah, this is a shirt that a listener sent to me. Nice shirt. Appreciate it. I got to adjust the air. It is hot. All right. I was telling everybody in the early morning stream during the welcome to the new subscribers that yesterday I had something happen that I've never had happen before, and it's been going on for months. The online feed, you know, I'm on the 8 radio stations, I'm on YouTube, but the show is also carried with live streaming from the radio stations live stream. Right, so it's on iHeartRadio. You can get it on your Alexa devices and all the devices like Alexa, okay? And people listen on those all the time. And for the last few months, about 3 or 4 months, there's been a lot of problems with the feed, and they've been trying to figure out. They finally figured it out yesterday. There are so many people listening to me on their Alexas and other devices, iHeartRadio and everything. They crashed the live streaming servers and have been crashing them for months. So they're increasing the server capacity. I've never had that happen before. And I don't know anyone at any radio station that's had that happen before. We crashed the servers for the streaming. It's crazy. And they texted me that around 8:30 yesterday, and on the show I said, oh, I got some really good news I can't share with you. And the reason I didn't want to share it is I wanted to verify it with somebody first. I couldn't believe it. That is a lot of freaking people listening on the streaming devices. All right, here we go. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. All right, let's go to the phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, good morning, good morning.
Hey, Richie.
This is Richie.
Yes.
You hit it so on the head, man. I mean, this. Let me tell you, last night I'm watching, they got these demonstrations of this get rid of ICE and all over the place. Don't deport. They're in almost every city, and this thing's Saturday. Now, for people out there, Brian always kids me and says I live in Honky Town. I moved up to Sebastian, Florida.
Yes.
My town, actually Melbourne, there's a flea market. The most popular hat sold at that flea market is Trump, MAGA,
yes.
All over the place.
That's true.
That's all we
yes.
have here is MAGA.
MAGA country.
This is so Republican. And guess what they're going to have Saturday in Sebastian, Florida? The Snow King March.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
They have totally targeted the whole country. And
not only are they targeting it though, this is a very highly financed. This isn't just your regular Democrat organizing. What's going on here is advertising agency level stuff. And what I knew that Democrats were behind this thing, but when I've seen these local news stories doing pre-news stories on Saturday, this is where the event will be. That's paid advertisement on the local news. We'll never be able to confirm that, but my common sense and expert knowledge working in broadcasting tells me that.
Well, this one right on the dime, man.
Yeah, hold on one second.
Differently though.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you how I see this as. You know, they talked about that President Trump wouldn't accept the election in 2016 and 2020 rather, that he wouldn't accept it and that we were insurrectionists and everything. This is to me, this is just maybe 20% of these wackos that lost the election will not accept it.
When you set up a fake protest, some of the real lunatics will come. As an example, Charlottesville was set up by the Democrats. There were people there that saw the fake white supremacist and BLM coming in on buses from the same charter company. But when you set up a fake protest with white supremacists, some of the real ones will come. So not everybody at these no kings things around the country, a lot of those people are real organic lunatics from the left. But there is big corporate money, foreign money, Democrat money, and there are professional, there is at least one major, I'm telling you, by the way this is being done, there is at least one professional advertising agency, I'm talking about like from Mad Men, like a Madison Avenue-like thing, that is promoting this, not just online, but on local news. And when I see it on local news, those are media buys. Hey, Richie, I got a full board. I appreciate the call. You're right. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Lisa. I'm calling from Alabama.
Speak up a little bit, Alabama.
Lisa from Alabama, sir.
Hey, Lisa.
I just wanted to say, like, okay, this may be a little out there, but in my opinion, I believe that China is a part of these riots that's happening in LA. Because, I mean,
they're part of it, sure.
It wasn't long ago that Xi had made, because it wasn't long ago, Xi had made an appearance in LA whenever Bass and Newsom had, went above and beyond to clean LA up for his presence. And then, the same week they're having...
No, we know for a fact Dianne Feinstein had a Chinese spy with her for 20 years. Fang was California with what's his name?
Right.
So China has a lot to do with it. Yes. And they, and they're funding a lot of this, but it's not just China. It's Democrats in this country as well, working in coordination with the CCP.
Right, and funding this, because, we've seen video where they're handing out gas masks, they're handing out shields. This is ridiculous. I feel like if it's not peaceful, they need to be arrested immediately.
Well, they are. They've arrested hundreds. ICE has arrested hundreds of illegals in L.A. alone at this insurrection out there in Los Angeles.
Right. Absolutely, and they should. They have every right to. By law. We've lived by these laws for hundreds of years now. What's to change now?
That's right. Hey, listen, it's good to hear from you from Alabama. Take care. Thanks for the call. All right. We've started off with pretty good on the phones today. Let's hope it keeps going. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Mike from Louisiana.
Okay, Mike.
You're right. These riots are very much contrived, and I go back to what I was doing in 2020 with some friends of mine, and when those riots were going on, we were staying up late nights and watching them through these streamers that were doing them at the time. And at the end of the stream, they always would go and say, go to this Facebook page called Direct Action, and it's all about them asking for money and them telling you where the next riot's going to be,
Yeah.
Back in 2020. So, this is the next edition of what was going on in 2020.
That's right. Hey, I agree with everything you said there. Good. Right on the mark, Mike from Louisiana. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air.
Oh, hi. Sorry, I'm from Washington. So I think
That's cool. That's good. What's up?
I'm Daniel. My name is Daniel. I'm in Los Angeles, California. And the main thing that I wanted to say is that...
Here we go.
Thank God. Thank the Lord Jesus Christ that the Marines are here. Because if the Marines were not here, then these people would have to deal with the civilians of Los Angeles. And we would not show them the same...
Oh, please. This is... enough of these liberals trying to act like MAGA people and say stupid things. Come on. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi there. Mask Lady from Boca?
Yes, Mask Lady.
Hi, hon. Louise. I just want to ask, I'm sorry, I woke up at 6:15. The parade, is it going to be televised?
Of course it's going to be televised.
I assume that, but what time? Have you any
It's going to be an all-day event. The parade itself is, I believe, is later in the day, but it'll be an all-day event. Watch it on... there's a question as to whether or not the networks are going to carry it, and there's a question as to whether or not some of the cable news is going to carry it, but it'll be all over, yeah. You won't have a problem finding it. All right, appreciate the call. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, brother.
What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is James, and I'm from Florida.
All right, James. What's on your mind?
I just wanted to say, nice shirt, brother.
Thank you.
Did it come with a dick in your mouth?
Yeah, actually it did. First dump of the day. First dump of the day. And you know, oh my goodness. I'm wearing, you guys watching on YouTube, a lot of the, I got a lot of Trump clothing and hats. Some of them I've purchased myself, but a lot of the hats I have and the shirts I have, listeners have mailed them to me at the radio station, which I appreciate. One of the ones, the shirt I'm wearing now was sent to me by a listener. It's Trump driving the garbage truck. And it says, Trump cleaning up 4 years of, well, I'm not going to say, but you can figure it out. 4 years of something I'm not going to say on the air. And whoever sent me this shirt, thanks a lot. I appreciate it. It's a nice shirt. But since we're waiting for the delay to rebuild, callers on hold, you stand by. And it gives me an incredible opportunity to talk about the incredible sale that's going on right now at MyPillow.com, the beach sale. You know, Mike Lindell has a whole line of beach, pool, summer things right there at MyPillow.com that are 50% off right now. It is, it's summertime, right? That's the beach, that's the pool. And if you don't have a pool, if you don't have a beach, I feel sorry for you. But if you got kids or grandkids, I bet you got a slip and slide. Oh man, you know, I remember as a kid in Ohio, we didn't have a pool, and certainly we didn't have a beach unless we went up to that thing they call a beach at Lake Erie. But we had the slip and slide, we had the garden hose out all summer, and you need these MyPillow beach towels. They are spectacular. They're colorful, they're soft, they're plush. Like the regular bath towels from MyPillow, the beach towels are absorbent. They're perfect for the beach, the lake, the backyard, the swimming pool, hanging out on the slip and slide with the kids and grandkids. They have everything you need, right? And again, 50% off with our promo code Kane at checkout, K-A-N-E. Beach towels, beach blankets, lounger beach towels, special towels for the kids. So whether you're soaking up the sun, unwinding after a swim, bring summer home no matter where you are with these incredible beach towels from MyPillow. You know, you can also use them when you're getting out of the shower or the tub too. They're 100% cotton, extremely durable, great for the beach, the pool, the bath, and you will love them. Go to MyPillow.com, order yours now with our promo code Kane, and remember, 50% off with our promo code Kane at checkout, K-A-N-E. You can also order by phone, toll-free, 1-800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879. Promo code Kane, K-A-N-E. We'll be right back. Boy, oh boy. All right, we'll be back in a couple minutes. Welcome, everyone. Yeah, these beach towels are great. My wife just ordered a couple yesterday, and they look great, don't they? Absolutely. Absolutely. If you're new, make sure that you subscribe to the channel. This most definitely is where MAGA comes to talk. Just over a minute, and we will be back. Yes, yes, yes. We have so much to cover. Okay, let me pull up this one soundbite. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. If you're on hold, hang in there. We'll get to the calls in a little bit. So back to this fake protest. So what's going on here with this No Kings thing? You know, I broke down how it's a fake thing. This is very corporate. There's at least one major Madison Avenue type, Don Draper type advertising agency involved in this. It's too quick, too fast. It's on local news all over the country before the event, promoting the event. I went through all that in the first segment or two of the program. But here's the next thing. What the left are trying to do, and they've been trying to do this in Trump's entire second term, they're trying to give him a nickname. They're trying to brand him as something. See, they don't got anything. So they got nothing. So they figure if we could get him a nickname, and they come up with these nicknames that just don't make sense, right? So right now, they're trying to brand him a king. Oh, he's a king. Now, this king thing, someone who is at the upper levels of the Democrat Party behind the scenes that came up with this no king stupidity is probably my generation, Gen X. And the reason I say that, No Kings is obviously from Schoolhouse Rock's America's Rock's No More Kings, which is one of the more famous Schoolhouse Rock songs. I know everybody talks about Conjunction Junction and Electricity and all that, but I've always been a fan of the America's Rock, and No More Kings is one of the big ones, and they obviously took it from that. So that tells me there's somebody upper level, my age. Oh, no Kings! They took out the more because they didn't want everybody to know that they stole it from Schoolhouse Rock. And they're trying to brand him a king. That just doesn't work. I'm going to go through a couple. Now, if I leave some out, you can call and let me know. He just won a national election where he won the popular vote. He won every battleground state and flipped a whole bunch of blue counties red, even in California. And they're trying to get this nonsense going. Here's an example. Here's an idiot reporter with Carolyn Levitt in the White House press briefing yesterday. So major reporter, does President Trump consider himself a king? You know what a great response to that would be? Did that sound as stupid to you as it did to me when I heard you say it? Right? Does he consider himself a king? No, but I consider you an AH. No, I'm kidding. For a nickname to fit, there has to be truth to it. So right now they're trying to brand him a king. That's not going to fly. Remember what they were trying to call him last week? Panda Express. They were calling Air Force One Panda Express. Remember a caller called me with that. I didn't get it. He said Panda Express 1. We were talking about Trump flying somewhere, and I didn't get it. And he said it like 3 times. That jerk that calls from Sarasota, Florida sometimes. And I guess in his liberal Rachel Maddow disciple circles, they know what it means. I didn't. He says, "Oh, Panda Express, they serve orange chicken," and Trump said chicken. And then the week before that, they were trying this taco thing. Trump always chickens out. First off, calling him a chicken. The Never-Trumpers shot him in the head, and he got up from the podium and continued speaking with his face covered in his blood. That's not a chicken. For a nickname, it's got to have truth to it. And I'll give you a couple of examples. When President Trump fired Steve Bannon in the first term, Steve Bannon and him weren't getting along, and Bannon must have said something, and Trump started calling Steve Bannon Sloppy Steve Bannon. Well, that's funny because he does look like a slob all the time, doesn't he? Steve Bannon, it's kind of like his style is to look like a slob. So when you say sloppy Steve Bannon, you're like, yeah, he is a slob. I love Steve Bannon, and I agree with him most of the time, but you know what I mean, right? But if you were to say Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, if you were to call him sloppy Pete Hegseth, would that be funny? No. The guy wears beautiful tailored suits. His hair is perfect. Even when he's not wearing suits and he's in workout gear, it looks like it's tailored. And he so sloppy Pete Hegseth, it would sound like an idiot. It's not even funny. There has to be truth to it. So they're trying to call him a king this week. Last week it was Panda Express. Week before that, taco. And by the way, tariffs worked. ED. Passed it. Tariffs worked. China caved, made a deal with the president, okay? So it was, let me try to go through them. Dictator, okay, I get to that. It was, right now it's king, trying to call him a king. Last week, Panda Express. Week before, taco. Week before that, dictator. He just won an election. Dictator and king, they play off the same thing. So they're already rehashing the rotation. Vice President Trump and President Musk, they've been, none of these things stick because there has to be some truth to it for it to stick and be funny and be parody. So the king thing is just not going to make it. So this no kings garbage, what is it really, right? Who are they really protesting? They're not protesting Trump. You know, President Trump's birthday, coincidentally, is on the same day. There are only 360 days in a year. Each and every one of us, there are historically significant things that happen on your birthday. We have thousands of years of human history, and lots of things have happened. You probably know celebrity, like on my birthday, I kind of make fun of my birthday every year. My birthday is April 20th. I share a birthday with George Takei, who plays Sulu on the original Star Trek series. I share a birthday with Eddie Murphy. And there's some other lesser celebrities I share birthdays with too, but those are the, two. I also share a birthday with Adolf Hitler. Adolf Hitler and I share the same birthday, April 20th. And April 20th, my birthday, is also International Marijuana Day, which is that 420 thing. And whatever, there's only 365 days a year. So whatever your birthday is, I imagine you know a celebrity or two that you share a birthday with, and you might know some historical events that coincide with your birthday. It's just a coincidence. I'm sorry, it's Now, it happens to be a convenient birthday, and it turns into a double celebration, but it's just a coincidence. But what are they really protesting? What they're protesting is not Trump. They're protesting the great United States Army. That's a year older than the United States. That was originated and led by our first president, General George Washington, and gave us our great country. And, you know, why would you be out there protesting the Army right now? We're in a state of peace. There's no draft. Why are you out there protesting the Army? And I found this lunatic. There's a bunch of these. I'm only going to play one lunatic, maybe two, but certainly this one. It's hard to play a lot of them because they're, you know, these leftists are big on profanities. But this is one of the liberal lunatics talking about the celebration of the Army's 250th birthday. And they have a graphic that's blue and yellow, which, of course, they're showing solidarity with Ukraine. Listen.
Thank you so much for joining our conversation.
See, the kick out the clowns, they got trumped by the no kings. Kick out the clowns. What are her pronouns? I use she, her pronouns. Oh my goodness. Yes. Oh. Oh. The Chamberlain Network. Okay, so the Kick Out the Clowns didn't get the advertising agency that No Kings had, but there's crossover. And I played that one just so you can hear how stupid these people are and fake they are. But it's hard to find sound bites I can play on the radio because they use so much profanity. They are protesting the great United States Army. They gave America its freedom. And those original soldiers in our army, they suffered so much during the American Revolution for this she, her pronoun girl here to sit around and spit upon them with her Ukrainian flag. These mental patients that are going to be in the streets on the 14th screen. No more kings! We're going to elect ourselves a president. That's from Schoolhouse Rock, by the way. I got to be careful. I know all the America's Rock by heart. So I don't want to say them because if I do, I might end up singing. And if I end up singing, we'll have no listeners because you won't be able to handle it. I won't be able to handle it. All right, listen, we're going to take our last break of the first hour, and when we get back, I'm going to get into some more details on this. If you're on hold, hang in there. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. Our number is toll-free, no matter where you're listening, 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. We'll be right back. Hilarious. We'll be back in just over a minute. 1 minute. We'll be back. If you're on hold, hang in there. All right, we are back. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. You know, I've been mentioning my daughter moved back to Florida from Los Angeles just a couple weeks ago. She's been here less than a month, which is very exciting. My daughter, she called me yesterday to get together. She's made some plans for Father's Day. In the last couple of years, Father's Day has just been a phone call from California wishing me a happy Father's Day. But this Father's Day, I'm going to spend it with my daughter, which is exciting. But my daughter, she moved back to Florida from California. Now, when she moved to Florida, when she moved from Florida to California, which was 2.5 years ago, when she moved to California 2.5 years ago, I took her car. She flew when she moved. I took her car to Friendly Tire, and I got her 4 new Firestone tires, and then I shipped her car to her. And she's been out in California driving that car for 2.5 years. And because she was new to California, she went all over the place, everywhere, all through California, the deserts, everything. And when she was moving back home, I wanted to ship her car back. And she's like, no, I want to drive because, you know, she wanted to see the country. So she spent about a 2-week or so vacation driving through America, you know, the kind of things you can do when you're young. And I said, well, you know, you're driving across America. Do you need some new tires? And she says, no, I don't need new tires. I had her FaceTime me, you know, and she showed me the tires. And those Firestones from Friendly Tire, they still look like new. I couldn't believe it. My daughter drove across America back to Florida, and she's driving in South Florida on them still today, on those Firestone tires that I got her at Friendly Tire 2.5 years ago. I don't know how many thousands of miles she's put on them, but a lot. And I was telling Mike about this yesterday. Go to Friendly Tire. The lowest prices on tires you will find anywhere. He has new tires as low as $70 a tire, out the door and on the road. And when I say out the door and on the road, what that means is when Friendly Mike at Friendly Tire gives you a quote over the phone, that's it. He doesn't charge you to balance the tire, mount the tire, or even dispose of your old tires, okay? Give him a call. He can get any tire you want, any brand. If you have a Tesla, he's got the special tools for the Tesla tires, great deals on those. If you have run flats like I do, and the lowest prices on run flats you'll find anywhere, 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445. That's 954-977-9445 for Friendly Tire in Margate. Okay, so the Army birthday parade, which I'm excited about. Here's the president talking about it in the Oval Office. Oh, yes. Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, that clip there, see, what's happened is we have had 3 generations, it started with Vietnam. We've had about 3 generations of brainwashing about this country. And the few liberals that are left in America, they hate us and they hate the military. And they believe that the United States is the root cause of all the evil in the world. And this military parade has them physically ill. I've been listening to some of them talk, and they're comparing it to these North Korean parades a lot that Kim Jong-un has, and even some, there's a big difference between his parades and ours. Ours is real military equipment. There's been I've seen a lot of military experts over the years. None of them are on TV now because the media doesn't want this out there. But when they show these military parades with the rockets and all the heavy-looking equipment, I've seen generals on the cable news analyze the tires, and you can tell there's no weight on the vehicles. It's all plywood, right? They're not real weapons. Ours are real, okay? And it's a good thing. And, there's nothing like being in Washington, D.C. I love it. And a parade like this in Washington, I don't know when is the last time we had a military parade like this. They keep saying World War II, and maybe that's true, but I've been in D.C. on the 4th of July, and if any of you ever have, it's a pretty cool thing. You got helicopters flying over and everything. What's the matter with the parade? And they keep saying it costs however much money. I saw somebody this morning in my live chat, they said $45 million. That's not true. This is costing next to nothing. The United States already has the equipment. The soldiers in the Army are already on salary. The only major expense is fuel, gas. It's gas money. Now, it's an Army parade with some big equipment, and I understand that, and there was maybe some expense with the trains bringing the equipment in to D.C. and such. And there's been a little prep on the roads. I saw an Army colonel with the Corps of Engineers. I might play the audio of him. It was interesting. He was showing how they're protecting the roads there and the manhole covers. They're doing some extra protections that's temporary on them so the tanks don't crush the manhole covers. And so it's pretty interesting stuff. But basically, the parade is costing gas money. That's it. And, the equipment like this needs to be run and driven all the time anyway, not just for training purposes, but to keep it operational. So this equipment that's going to be in the parade, they already use it all the time because they have to use it for training, and you've got to run. You don't make all this equipment and then put it in a warehouse and don't use it for years. It's driven around all the time. It's part of Army life. So whatever money they're spending on the parade, it may even be less than gas money, because they would have to use the gas money to drive these tanks and fly these helicopters around anyway. The cost of the parade is really next to nothing by government standards. It's not an expense. Don't believe these insane price tags they give. Here's the president again talking about the parade. Yeah, and also think about what great advertisement this is for recruitment in all of our branches, in particular in the Army. You ever go to air shows? I used to go to the Fort Lauderdale Air Show all the time, but it's such a hassle. I don't go anymore too much. But I used to go to that, and I remember once they had the one year I went, And I went to the Fort Lauderdale airport and watched a lot of the aircraft, some of them even military fighters, taking off from the Fort Lauderdale airport. That was pretty cool. But they always have at the air shows the stealth bombers or fighters. And the stealth bombers and fighters don't land and take off at the local airports here, like all the other military fighters do. They, because they're so highly classified, they fly in from whatever base they're at in America. So if you ever see a stealth bomber or fighter at an air show, it's flown pretty far. I remember one year, I don't remember if it was the bomber or the flyer, flew in from Mississippi. One year, one flew from, it was like Kansas or something, or Nebraska. How much fuel did that cost? What was the cost of the fuel to fly the stealth bomber or fighter? The reason that the military pays for these things is, one, they've got to fly the aircraft anyway, so it's not really costing, but it's advertisement for recruiting for the military. And this military parade in Washington, D.C. is a great infomercial for recruitment for the Army and all the military branches. I'll tell you another thing. What a boom for the local D.C. economy. You know, this is a slow period in D.C. because the 4th of July is next month. And the 4th of July is a busy time in D.C. June's a little slower. So in a slow period before the July 4th weekend boom that they always get in D.C. every year, because it's a great place to be to watch the fireworks, they're getting an economic boom in the city because of President Trump with the military parade. So all this opposition to it is just stupid. If you're on hold, hang in there. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. My name is Brian Craig. Our number is toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. We'll take our break for the top of the hour and be right back. Absolutely. Welcome, everyone, to the program. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. This is our top of the hour break. We'll be back in a couple of minutes. If you're on hold, hang in there. Okay. We'll be back in a little more than about 90 seconds. We'll be back. This is a top of the hour break on the radio. Welcome to the new subscribers. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, if you want to call in, the number is pinned in the live chat. It's a toll-free number. If you're watching live, you can call me live. One minute. Less than 30 seconds, guys. We'll be back. Welcome back, everyone. Hour number 2 has begun. I'm Brian Craig. This is Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. Call is on hold. You stand by. Our number toll-free, 1-888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. So we're talking about this great parade, which serves a lot of purposes. And in this segment, you're going to hear from some of the soldiers that are going to be in this parade talking about it. But yesterday, what happened, what the Mexicans in this country did yesterday was insane. President Trump is deporting everyone. You understand that, right? They're deporting everyone. If you're in this country illegally, you're out. And he's going to do it. And it's happening as we speak. And, I've been talking this week about how the illegals in particular, when we saw these Mexican flags in Los Angeles, that the United States has been invaded, conquered, occupied, and colonized by Mexicans. And you see that. And these people that, in this illegal circle, they live in a bubble. They live in a bubble where they haven't become Americanized, right? It's no longer a melting pot. So they live in a Mexican life in America. Everybody speaks Spanish. Everyone's Mexican. They have no sense of where the pulse of the American people are. And they did something incredibly stupid yesterday. Incredibly stupid. And I wish I could show this to you on the radio. I'll just have to describe it, but that's okay. They put together this dramatic video of Mexican construction workers raising the American flag from sea to shining sea at construction sites. One of them, they did it on atop a big hill at a construction site in Arizona is where it started. And it was to reenact Iwo Jima is what they were doing. And it was a big Mexican flag, and it was like, we've conquered you, America. And then they cut to construction sites all over the United States: Arizona, Nevada, California, Connecticut, New York City, Florida, all over the country, sometimes on top of skyscrapers under construction, all Mexican flags, massive flags. I mean, some of these were so huge, it was an operation just to get them there. And, of course, they were playing some type of Mexican music while they were doing this. And it was meant for them to show solidarity with the illegals. And this video went viral yesterday on social media. All that does is make people furious. The Democrats, if there's an opportunity to make a mistake, they're going to make it, especially these days against Trump, because the Trump derangement syndrome, they're out of their minds. They can't think clearly. And because they can't think clearly, they're unable to organize in a meaningful way. And this carrying of the Mexican flags, they're trying to do damage control, which is worse. So now what the Democrats are doing, they're trying to get these illegals to leave the Mexican flags at home, which they're not going to do. They're trying to get them to carry American flags, but fly them upside down. Now, that's a disaster waiting to happen for two reasons. Number one, the upside-down American flag is a symbol of international distress, and that's going to tick people off. Patriots are going to be furious about that. But you have American flags in the hands of a bunch of liberals. What are they going to do with them? You know what they're going to do with them? What do you think they're going to do with them? They're going to set them on fire and start burning them and make videos about it and show it everywhere. So, I mean, they got it, and it's going to happen coast to coast at these protests. Carolyn Levitt at the press conference yesterday pointed, they have arrested hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of illegals in LA alone, and they're doing it at all these events they're planning around the country. This is awesome. They're walking right into, it's like the Roach Motel. You put the Roach Motel in, and boom, they check in, they don't check out. The illegals are showing up at these protests. ICE is there, probably embedded with them, and they're deporting them. ICE, it's a hilarious thing. But we're in a different phase right now. There was an arrest in California of someone that had Molotov cocktails yesterday. Did you see this story? We have moved into a new area. This is not protest. It's certainly not peaceful, but it's not a protest. It's not even a violent protest. It's two things that we have going on. And this No Kings is a part of it. Okay? These are not protests, peaceful or violent protest. It's two things. And the Molotov cocktails, boom, that did it. It's an insurrection and an insurgency, like they had in Iraq after the fall of Saddam. We have an insurgency in this country of violent, illegal foreigners that are causing all kinds of havoc. That's an insurgency. The ones that are legal or are Americans, they're part of an insurrectionist movement, and they're collaborating with the insurgents. These are all hardcore crimes that are being committed all over the place. So let me share this. This is one of the soldiers who's going to be in the parade this weekend. Yeah, and the face is not a guy who's got stars on his shoulders or eagles on his shoulders who's in a dress like it was the last 4 years. Oh, man. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Why you hate so much?
I don't hate. Who do I hate?
Why you racist?
What have I said that's racist?
Why are you? I'm calling my lawyer.
Okay, well, don't call me again. How about that? Oh, my goodness. You know, I don't mind callers giving me a hard time. I really don't. But you got to have something to say. And, you know, these liberals, it's a funny thing. It's a funny thing. They you know, remember the great Rush Limbaugh? Rush said the Democrats, the liberals, they have that old playbook. And when they're dealing with white conservatives, they call that racist. Why you hate? Why you racist? You get that a lot, right? By the way, that will be the last time I speak to that gentleman. You're not going to threaten me. It doesn't work with me. It doesn't work with Steve Kane. You guys know exactly why. And, you know, I remember once, this was a funny thing with Steve Kane once. This was hilarious. Steve was being called a racist by some people on the school board here in South Florida, and there was a big controversy. And he was a guest live in studio on CNN. And we had to go to Miami to do this. Steve was in the CNN studio in Miami. They actually have an office in a studio in Miami. It's separate from any TV station. It's a little tiny place. And I'm in the green room watching Steve on the monitor live on CNN, and the anchor interviewing him, I can't remember if it was in New York or Washington, they said, we want to show a photo from your website. And I got really nervous because I thought, well, what could that be? And it was a family picture of Steve with his kids, and 3 of his children are black. And the anchor on CNN, these people calling you a racist, do they know that your children are black? And he says, yeah, but they still call me that. You know, I mean, it's just absurd. It's completely stupid, and it just doesn't work. You got to get new talking points for the new century, okay? For the new brand of conservatives. I mean, it might, if Steve and I both did not have interracial families, you know, maybe, but, you know, that's that. All right, our number, toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call, no matter where you are listening. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, can you hear me?
I can.
Hey, sorry about that. My name's Jack. I'm calling from New York. I just had a question, and I apologize if I had misheard you earlier. Did you say the protests that are happening now in California? Did you call that an insurrection or an insurgency?
There's both. The ones that are foreign nationals, okay, That is an embedded insurgency of foreign nationals who are organized to commit violence. So that's an insurgency. The insurrectionists are the people that are here legally or U.S. citizens that are interrupting government business of presidential orders to deport illegals. That's an insurrection.
Good. Gotcha.
So what do you think you got me with? Well, what's your response? You think you got me on something?
Well, I was going to ask, do you think, in your view, was January 6th an insurrection?
No.
Oh. In what world, I guess, then, was January 6th a non-insurrection?
Well, first of all, the people that went in were the January 6th protesters were 100% unarmed. That's one.
Okay.
In Los Angeles, they're armed. They're armed in Los Angeles. They have hammers. They have Molotov cocktails. They have concrete. They have bricks. Those are weapons. In world history, in the history of insurrections, there has not been an insurrection where the insurrectionists were unarmed.
Okay. I mean, your recounting of January 6th and those people being unarmed is just not correct. They captured police weapons, batons, pepper spray. They used those against police officers, so it's just not correct.
And at the end, they left peacefully. In fact, if you watch some of the video inside, now I'm sure the guy that broke the window was probably Antifa and went in and opened up the door. I'm not saying that they weren't MAGA people that went inside, but the people that broke down the doors and the windows, I promise you, were fake MAGA, were Antifa. In fact, when Ashley Babbitt was shot dead by that cop, it was captured on video by a BLMer that was working for several media outlets, and one of them was NBC News, but he was in MAGA gear from head to toe. He's the one that filmed the murder of Ashley Babbitt, so that we know there were BLM and others that were leftist in MAGA gear passing themselves off, and those are the ones that probably broke the doors down. But if you watch the footage inside the Capitol, they're walking through the Capitol Rotunda between the velvet ropes. You know, they're not even walking outside the ropes, these people. That's not an insurrection.
So, I mean, if I can just say, it sounds like we both agree at least that obstructing government business is at least not good. That insurrection isn't good. Well,
I believe that the government organized. I believe that the government organized January 6th. Not the government of Donald Trump, but the government, the parts of the government that the Democrats operate.
Gotcha.
You know, listen, what's going? So I know you think you got me on something, but you know, we're talking about current events and news, and you're talking about things that are over. You're talking about things that are 5.5 years old. Why can't you live in the now?
Well, I mean, it's a little bit of a litmus test. It's just.
Well, let's just say for the discussion. Hold on a second. Let's just say for the discussion that I don't agree. We don't agree about January 6th. But if that was an insurrection, why isn't what's going on with your friends in Los Angeles not one?
Well, maybe it is. My point is that I'm just trying to see if your criteria for the California insurrection, as you're calling it, is, you know, obstructing government business, violence. I'm just trying to draw a parallel.
The January 6ers were not violent.
Okay, I mean, like I said earlier, weapons were captured, police officers were injured, people died.
Weapons were captured. The person that died was Ashley Babbitt, and she was shot dead by a Capitol police officer who's a coward and irresponsible. I'll
be honest, this phone call has been a little bit of like an experiment, like in the same way that like.
Oh, what's the experiment? What's the experiment you're doing? Talking to coherent people? What is the experiment? Oh, we got to hit the dump button again, Mike. Oh my goodness. You see what happens when you talk to these liberals that have never talked to a conservative. It's like they put their hands over their ears. I can't hear this. I can't hear this. Bye-bye. I can't talk to you. This is an experiment. You're saying things that don't compute. All right, Robbie the robot. I want to tell you, it's hurricane season. It was raining this morning. I was going to take my MAGA scooter, my Vespa, this morning, and it was raining. It stopped raining, but I didn't want to be on the wet roads. And, you know, when it's hurricane season and you do hurricane prep, there's so much you do, right? You stock up on water. You make sure your generator's operating. You know, you got your hurricane shutters and everything else. But one of the most overlooked things when it comes to hurricane prep are those wet spots on your ceiling. If you have a wet spot on your ceiling, you have a leak in your roof, and you want to call Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing. You know, Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing, he'll never sell you a roof you do not need. And what that means is if you need just a simple repair, he'll do it. But he covers the east and west coast of Florida, everywhere in between. He works with every type of roofing material on every type of structure. And if you need a new roof, he'll take care of that for you as well. But he's not just a roofer, he's also a contractor. And as a contractor, under Florida law, Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing is able to deal directly with your insurance company on the cost of the repair or the replacement of your roof. So it speeds things up quite a bit. Give him a call. This number rings directly to Tom Laporta's cell phone. He's a good MAGA guy, and he'll take good care of you. 954-604-4602. 954-604-4602. And online, LaportaRoofing.com. We'll be right back. We'll be back in a couple minutes, guys. Oh, man. I love talking. Those of you that don't agree with me, I love talking to you. But I'll ask you this question. If it was an insurrection, why did President Trump say peacefully, right? Peacefully. But even if you think it was an insurrection, two wrongs don't make a right. So you can't say that was an insurrection, but this isn't, because they're interrupting government business. President Trump offered 10,000 National Guard. Pelosi said no. That's correct. Why would he want the National Guard there, right? But see, that's a diversion. They don't want us to talk about their No More Kings garbage, or their activism the violence they're doing in L.A. They want to talk about things that happened 5.5 years ago and debate the past. Why don't you call in and talk about the Watts riots? Let's talk about the Watts riots. And what was that, 65, 68? I mean, come on. We'll be back in 1 minute. Yeah, the Battle of Athens. How about the Battle of Troy? Let's talk about the Battle of Troy. Since we're doing a history show now. Stand by. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. Our number toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, Matt.
from Germantown, Maryland.
All right, Matt, what's up?
Well, I found you recently on YouTube. I enjoy your show. I just tuned in this morning listening, and I live in this area of just outside Washington, D.C. My mother lives there in Northwest. And so I'm an independent, strong Trump supporter. I can tell you Washington, D.C. and surrounding, it's a very strong liberal area.
Of course.
And I walk that area. I see the signs in the yard, anti-Trump, anti-Israel. So, yeah, these people, they're very hard to talk to.
Yeah.
To convince them otherwise.
Well, the reason that area is so liberal is because all those people that work in the bureaucracy of D.C. live there. They don't live in D.C., they live in this area surrounding it. Yeah. So the bureaucracy is filled with liberal idiots and jerks.
I remember hearing Tucker Carlson say, because he was from that area down there, and he said most of those people there, they don't, that have the money, they don't really work. They just have money tied to the bureaucracy or something, and they're just their way of thinking. They really don't have any skin in the game other than making money.
Well, he's part of that. If I remember, I mean, I like Tucker. I'm not attacking Tucker, but if he is a man of from a family of means. His father, if I remember correct, was his dad an executive with Public Radio or Air America, one of those things. But his stepmother, Tucker Carlson's stepmother, is an heiress from the Swanson TV dinner family.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Mm. You can tell he's money. Look at the way he dresses and looks. He comes from money. He's not new money like Sean Hannity.
Yeah.
He's old money.
Right.
Or at least older. You can tell by the way he dresses.
I don't think he hides that. I think he was saying there that he lived with those people around his whole life, got along with them. But when he started asking questions about things, he realized, he said his eyes were opened.
Yeah, no, exactly. And remember when Antifa went after his house? He had to move to Florida because his wife was hiding in the bathroom because Antifa went to his house. I mean, they really harassed Tucker. These liberals are out of their minds.
So the insurrection, they call it down there, that's a very interesting
Well, now
story.
here's the thing, you know, we're not here to, this is a program where we talk about news. We might make a reference to something that happened in history, but why are we talking, you know, the left, they want to turn this into a discussion over an event that happened 5.5 years ago, as opposed to what's going on right now with this you're another fallacy. And that's just, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to sit here and talk about history. You know, why don't you call in and talk about you know, the Tulsa riots from the 30s or the Watts riots in the 60s? I mean, why are we talking about things that that happened 4.5 years ago? It's because the liberals can't talk about what's happening now because they're losing and they're losers and they're out of power and they can't deal with it.
I fully agree, and I think any fair-minded person looking at what happened that day.
All right, so he's back to. All right, I appreciate the call. Here's another soldier, lady soldier, who's going to be at the Army birthday parade this weekend. Yeah, you see the pride with these soldiers? We got a lady driving the tanks. Oh, my goodness. That's wild. And she's going to be there. They're all excited. This is a historic event for the United States Army, and these soldiers that are lucky enough to be there, they're all excited. All right, if you're on hold, hang in there. It's the Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian Craig. We'll be right back. Oh, stand by if you're on hold. Yes, that's exactly right. So we've used the dump button twice today. Yeah, they've got a whole stand for the president to be at for the whole event. Mm-hmm. Welcome. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. This is our bottom of the hour break at the radio station. This is getting crazy. If you're on hold, hang in there. Oh, stretching my legs. We're back. I'm Brian. If you're on hold, stand by. You're listening to the Steve Kane Show. I want to talk about the free doorbell camera offer from Slomin's. Slomin's will give you a free doorbell camera that connects directly to your cell phone with the installation of your Slomin's Shield. You guys heard me talk about it. It's part of the security here at home. It's part of our security at the radio station, by the way. But it's also a convenient thing because anytime there's a FedEx delivery, I got a big FedEx delivery coming today. And it's an important one for something for my wife. It's one of those things I got assigned for. And I don't want to have to answer the door for the door-to-door salesman that's trying to sell me something to clean my driveway with or something. I want to answer it for the FedEx guy. And when there's movement at the door, you get a notification on your phone. I'll see it's FedEx, and I'll open the door. I'm not opening it for anyone else. But Slomin's, they're also going to give you a free customized home security system and professional installation when you use their low-cost central station monitoring. And it's also great for my wife. If I'm not home, and that FedEx guy comes, she can see it's the FedEx guy, and she knows who it is, and she knows it's safe to answer the door. But Slomin's, they're going to give you a free customized home security system and professional installation when you use their low-cost central station monitoring. You get an LED touchscreen, a motion detector, 10 contacts, a lifetime warranty, a backup battery, plus you'll receive a free doorbell camera with the installation of your Slomin Shield. Give them a call, toll-free, 833-283-5050. 833-283-5050. That's 833-283-5050. All right, back to the phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Sorry, we were disconnected. I didn't want you to.
No, I hung up on you because I was done talking to you. All right. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Oh, my goodness. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian. It's Dustin.
Hey, Dustin.
From Louisiana.
All right. What's up, Louisiana?
How you doing today?
I'm doing all right.
I'm going to tell you what. I got a couple points that I wanted to I just want to talk to. All right, I don't celebrate 420 anymore. I don't even celebrate my own birthday. When I was a kid, I used to celebrate 420.
Okay. That's International Marijuana Day. So you gave up weed. Okay.
Yeah, I did that. You know, you get older, you don't want to do that stuff anymore.
Yeah.
But when I was a kid, I was a little kind of a badass, you know. So my mom and my dad would send me out to Mississippi for the summers.
I'm not trying to be rude or anything, but I'm not your therapist. What's the point of the call?
I had 4 points. Also, I didn't have a pool when I was a kid. But I do have a slip and slide now.
Okay.
That's for the kids.
Yeah. Okay, I'm waiting for the points.
I have Mike's book. You know Mike, the pillow guy?
Mike Lindell, you have his book, yeah, so how he overcame addiction. Yep, I've read that book too.
It's a great book.
I gave my copy away.
Great book.
All right, I appreciate the call, Dustin, but, you know, this isn't the Lonely Hearts Club where you call in because you're lonely and you want to talk to somebody about your life. Oh, my goodness. You're on the air. What is it with Louisiana? Our Louisiana calls are not that great. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. This is Fred from Boca Raton.
Hey, Fred in Boca. What's up?
I saw the videos yesterday, and it appeared to me that there were a bunch of people driving trucks onto the site and supplying the protesters with armaments, stones, all kinds of things to cause the problem on the streets, and especially attacking the police. And what we need to do is get the military to mobilize, get drones to catch these people, get their location, and capture them.
You know, the thing with the military, you know, listen, here's the question, okay, in Los Angeles. I've seen the video of the trucks dropping off the pallets of bricks on the sidewalk, okay? I think most of us have seen those. My question is, where's the LAPD? How are you driving around in a truck with a pallet of bricks with a crisis like this going on and they don't get pulled over?
Well, we know that the police are directed to other things, and we've got the military.
Well, if you're in Los Angeles, listen, most cops are liberal. Here in Florida, it's different because we're a conservative state. But when you're in these blue states, the cops, like the people that work at the DMV or the school teachers, are Democrats. Democrats gravitate towards the bureaucracy. They want the easy thing, clock in, clock out, you know, the government pension to take care of them, cradle to grave and all that. And especially when you're in a blue city, the police are not on our side. They're on their side for the most part. They're liberals. Like Derek Chauvin. I promise you he's a Democrat. If Derek Chauvin were MAGA, we'd know about it.
Well, I thought it would be a source of not only curtailing a lot of these protesters from causing more trouble by having the equipment.
Well, I don't know about using the military. See, here's the thing. Now, I know that Pete Hegseth was asked about this in a hearing yesterday in Congress, but he says they're trained for the military. Really, are trained. They're not trained to be policemen in an American city. They're trained to search and destroy. They're trained to kill. And if they're trained in urban things, it's urban combat, maybe in some like Afghanistan or something. But I don't know what kind of training the United States Marine Corps have to be police officers on the streets of America. I don't know. Maybe they're well trained in that, but I would tend to think that's not primarily what they're trained. I know there probably is a lot of training for urban combat, but I don't know about policing. There's a big difference, right?
Well, the opportunity is not only to reduce the amount of trouble, but also track it and find out where it's coming from and who's financing it.
Yeah, that's true. All right, appreciate the call from Boca. All right, take care. Our number, 888-465-2631. I've been playing some comments from soldiers that are going to be in the parade. Here's an Army sergeant. Listen. Oh, wow. Existed. That's right, America. You know, all of these soldiers that are there, you hear the excitement and pride. And, you know, there's a problem, though, that we got to be very, very careful of. Patrick Bet-David actually was talking about this a little bit on Fox yesterday. These leftists, what they really want is an incident. Okay, they want an incident. They want, and you know, these events, I'm telling you, don't go to them. Don't go to any of these No More King events over the weekend. You know, I would not go to Washington for this parade. Okay, they are looking to cause trouble. And Kent State is their model, okay? And if you're not familiar with what happened at Kent State, you're probably a Democrat. But so I'm not going to explain it to you. Do a Google search and educate yourself. But the National Guardsmen, and that was a tragedy. Don't misunderstand me. But the National Guardsmen at Kent State were attacked by the students. They were throwing things at the National Guardsmen. They were attacking the National Guardsmen. And the National Guardsmen, in self-defense, fired their weapons. And we know what happened at Kent State, one of the major turning points in modern American history. And what these leftists want, you know, Patrick Bet-David said they want another George Floyd. I don't know if he's familiar with Kent State and the background of that Patrick Bet-David, but they want to try to create another Kent State, whether it's on the streets of LA or during the military parade. And I'll be watching this. It looks like most of the activities, the exciting ones, are going to be later in the day, around 6-ish in the evening. I was going to go to the Gulf of America on Saturday, but I'm going to stay home because I want to watch this great parade all day on television in my living room here in Florida. Do not go. This is a very dangerous thing. In fact, President Trump has been asked on at least 2 occasions, what if there's violence? And he says, well, the military will be there. See, when the Iranians took our embassy, the reason that they were so easily able to take the American embassy in Tehran in 1979 is because liberal idiot Jimmy Carter gave an order, and the Marine Guards had no bullets in their weapons. All they could do was throw the gun at them. They had no way to defend themselves, defend the embassy, or the diplomatic personnel there, and we lost control of the embassy. Pete Hegseth and Donald Trump are very smart. These soldiers we're seeing are armed. And I promise you, they got more than rubber bullets. You can't put soldiers in a situation where things can happen and have them there unarmed. You don't want another Tehran. And the goal of these leftists is to create another Kent State, not a George Floyd. Patrick Bet-David said George Floyd. No, they want another Kent State. And like with the attacks on the National Guardsmen at Kent State in Ohio, they are very capable of artificially creating one by attacking our soldiers on Saturday. So I would stay away. Do not go to the No Kings protest. They're all over the place. Do not go, and do not go to Washington. I'm sorry. Don't go. I would not go. I could have gone, and I didn't, and I wouldn't. But these soldiers at this D.C. parade, this could go south. It really could. And I'm worried about it. The last time President Trump had an event in D.C., we know what happened, January 6th. He couldn't even have his inauguration outdoors. I'd have it inside. I liked it inside better. I want to talk about Dr. Appleton and his laser wave pain treatment. It works. He has rid me of pain 7 times. But you know, if you've been in an accident, a car accident or any other type of accident, Dr. Appleton can help you too. I'll be telling you more about that down the road. I'm getting together with Dr. Appleton next week. He's going to give me some information about how he can help those of you that have been in accidents, car accidents, and other accidents, and I'll be giving you more details on that. But before I do, if you've been in an accident, go see Dr. Appleton. No appointments necessary, and walk-ins are welcome for you too. But if you're in pain, go see Dr. Appleton. It's a no-charge consultation. Say bye-bye to your pain, like I've done 7 times, and so many people in this listening audience have done as well. Don't forget, with the laser wave pain treatment, there's no injections, no drugs, no downtime, no surgery. It's 100% painless. You don't even feel it. Dr. Appleton performs all the laser treatments himself, and it works on every type of pain I've ever heard of. Here's his number. Oh, if you have x-rays or scans, bring them with you. Dr. Appleton will gladly look them over. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. That's 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonChiro.com. We'll be right back. Hey, Barry, it's Brian. Hey, stand by. I'll be right with you. We are back, and it's time to check in with Attorney Barry Siegel from the Siegel Law Group, who has a workshop coming up. Attorney Barry Siegel, good morning.
Good morning, Brian. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. It's your Medicaid seminar is a week from Saturday at your office. Yeah. What time is that workshop?
It's at 10 a.m., and we're really excited about it. It's this one's going to be different than the one that we normally do, the Living Trust Workshop. This one is going to be focused on Medicaid planning, which is really focused on your long-term care planning and making sure you don't run out of money during your lifetime if you, or if you're married, your spouse becomes ill and you need care, either home care, assisted living facility care, nursing home care. All of those are super expensive, and if you don't have a way to pay for it, either with insurance that could run out, or if you don't have a lot of money that you can pay and still have money left over, then you really need to come to this to find out what you need to do, because it's not automatic. Some people can walk right in at the time that they need care and do the planning, but some cannot. So it's very important to make sure that you're ready to be able to be qualified, even if you're not needing care now, even if everything's good, even if you're younger than typically to qualify it's 65 and older with some exceptions. So even if you're younger than that, you want to get everything ready so that you can qualify. And if you do need care now, or if you have a loved one who needs care now,
and they're paying for it out of pocket, you need to run to us right away. Either come to our seminar or just come in and schedule one of our free consultations.
Yeah, and you know, Attorney Barry Siegel, guys, you really want to take advantage of this workshop. It's a week from Saturday. It is limited seating because it is at the office, which is in Boca Raton on Military Trail. And they'll give you all the directions and everything when you call. But Barry, I imagine you see some tragic stories where people think they have to be destitute before they can qualify for this. They spend everything they have no assets left, and then they come to you. And that's just got to be such a sad thing, which is not necessary for people if they call you early.
Yeah, we've had that happen, unfortunately, where, I mean, we still can get people qualified to save what they have, but they could have saved a whole lot more. And then the worst thing is when people come in and we have to tell them there's nothing that can be done at this point because certain people in certain situations may not be able to qualify unless they planned ahead and did certain things to plan ahead so that they'd be in a position where we could say, yes, we can get you qualified.
Yeah. Well, listen, give the Siegel Law Group a call. Reserve your spot for that seminar. By the way, the seminar is a week from Saturday at 10 a.m. at the main office of the Siegel Law Group in Boca. But if you're not going to that, take advantage of the free in-office consultation as well. This is both for the seminar and to schedule your no-charge in-office consultation. 855-FLA-3782. 855-FLA-3782. And online, SiegelLawGroup.com. All right, Attorney Barry Siegel, we'll finish out the week tomorrow.
Thank you so much, Brian.
All right, take care. I can't believe it's Thursday already. Holy smokes. All right, call us on hold. You stand by. These massive deportations that are going on in Los Angeles and around the country is really amazing. You know, here we have a president in Donald Trump who has been doing so many amazing things that other Republican presidents have promised to do, but he's actually doing them. And CNN, they dropped the most amazing poll I think I have ever seen, ever in my life. Listen to this. This is a poll of Hispanics. And again, we're talking about now. That's this week during the battle for Los Angeles. Listen, this is CNN. Okay, now immigrant voters are legal citizens. They are immigrants, legal immigrants who have gone through the process and become U.S. citizens and are voters. And there's been a 40% swing since 2020 towards the Republicans. Right? Dems in 2020 were 32 points ahead in that group. Now the Democrats are behind. Republicans are up 8. That's a 40-point gain. And that's with everything Trump is doing. That means legal immigrants, legal Hispanic immigrants are on the side of President Trump. Wow. Yep. Well, I mean, this is CNN, and you know, I'm not a big follower of polls, you guys. I talk about this a lot. So the reason I'm sharing this is a liberal CNN poll that's showing these huge gains for President Trump. And keep in mind, these numbers, these polls have been done after the events in Los Angeles. So who's really on the Democrat side right now? Let's see if they got anything else in this poll. I didn't listen past this part, so I don't know what else is here. We'll find out. I'll find out with you. She can't, you know, the CNN anchor, she can't even talk. She's stuttering. She's so shocked that Trump's so popular. She's believing the propaganda that she reports from the teleprompter, I guess. Okay, so now this one's, this again, CNN polls. In 2020, 23% approved of the illegals. Now it's -6, so that's a 29-point drop. Yeah, Kate Baldwin, she's like, I mean, she's, when the show's over, she's going to be like, it'll be like morning sickness, but Trump sickness. I mean, that's amazing. And a CNN poll. And that was, and all of that polling was of Hispanics that are immigrants who are currently citizens, right? So why are they so upset? It's obvious. They don't like these people that are entitled, that are trying to skip the line. And there's probably also a lot of awareness as to the criminal nature of this population that's coming in, right? I mean, the murderers, the rapists we've been hearing about this week. And it's amazing to me that CNN reports that. I'm not sure why they're reporting that, but they're reporting it, and it's good. It's good news. And it shows how incredibly popular Trump is. And, you know, that's why when they say, oh, these people that are protesting, ICE, they're legal immigrants. I don't know about that. Not with this CNN poll. Now, I want to talk to you guys about Coastal Weight Loss Secret. Oh, man, I love it. You know, it's amazing to me how many clothes I have that I outgrew. You know, you get to a certain age. Remember when you're in school, every school year, you know, your mom, they take you shopping for school clothes. You guys ever do that? And then during the Christmas break, you need more school because you've been growing. And there comes a time when you stop growing. At least I thought, and you don't buy clothes as often as when you're a kid. And I have so many clothes, some of which I've not worn in years, that fit me perfectly now because I've lost so much weight from Coastal Weight Loss Secret. It works, guys. And I've been hearing from a lot of our listeners in this audience who have been telling me off the air that they have been losing so much weight, and they're so excited. And, you know, when you lose weight, you feel better. You feel better because you feel better about yourself. There's no doubt about that. But you also feel better energy-wise and health-wise. This morning, I was shaving. And I don't shave that often. I'm not into shaving. I don't like shaving. But I shaved today. And when I'm shaving, what a difference. I can see in the mirror because I've got my chin back. I've got my square jaws in there and my neck. Before Coastal Weight Loss Secret, I was round. The chin, it was all round. Give them a call, all right? Get your life back. Lose that weight, no matter how much you want to lose. Maybe you want to lose 20 pounds. Maybe you want to lose 200 pounds. Maybe you want to lose 300 or more. It's amazing. No prescription medications like Ozempic. I've done no exercise, and I'm eating foods I would normally eat. Give them a call, 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300. And online, coastalweightloss.secret.com. When you call, make sure you tell them you heard about them on the True Oldies channel. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, this is Mike from Boca. How are you?
All right, Mike. What's on your mind?
Well, quick question. How is Trump pardoning the Chrisleys making America great again?
I don't know. If you go through the history of presidential pardons, I think pretty much everyone who's received a pardon from any president's probably been guilty of what they've done, right? I mean, I don't know what kind of standard you have where not guilty people are pardoned. Guilty people are the ones that go to prison. I don't know why he pardoned them, but he did. So what?
Do you think that... Okay, so...
You want to ask the question, is it making America great again? I don't know. Do you think that's a brilliant question? Where'd you hear that? Did you make that up, or did you get it? I got a break for the top of the hour, but, you're not complaining about Hunter getting pardons. We'll be right back. He was going to say it again. Is it making America great again? I love these talking points these lunatics have. If you're new to the program, make sure you subscribe, guys. Oh, man. I love it. He thought he had me. He had me. Is it making America great? Democrats don't have any substance. All they have are slogans, right? Hey, what's up? Okay, hold on. Hold on. I'm going to put you on hold for a minute. Hold on. Steve, you there? Steve? Steve, you there?
Yes, I am.
All right, hang in there. All right, we got 1 minute. We'll be back.
Sounds good.
All right, the third hour has begun. My name is Brian Craig. You're listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977, celebrating 48 years on the radio. Steve Kane joining us. Hey, Steve.
Good morning.
There is a ton of stuff going on.
Hey, tell me about it. Just when I thought I'd seen it all.
No, I mean,
I found out I didn't see it all.
Did you have anything in particular of one of the big things you want to go to, or because I got a few things?
I mean, just as an overview, we lived through the Watts riot. I lived through the Watts riot. We lived through Rodney King and all that stuff. I've never seen anything like this.
The battle for yeah.
It's just unbelievable. The biggest thing is in the Rodney King thing. All the trouble was in the ghetto.
Yes,
I mean,
South Central.
They basically burned down the black end of town. With this, it's all over.
Yeah.
And in populated areas, and it's. I have a feeling we haven't seen the worst of it.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot. The Democrats are planning a bunch of things. You weren't with us yesterday, and something happened during the show yesterday. And I did tell this to the listeners that listen online, but I didn't tell this to people on the radio. I was waiting for you. We made some radio history yesterday on this program, and apparently it's been going on for a while, and we just found out about it. And I don't know if I'm supposed to share this or not on the air, but it's too late now. I'm already deep into it.
Share it.
You know, we're on our radio. We're on a bunch of radio stations. All right, True Oldies is on a whole bunch of radio stations. We cover basically the majority population of the state of Florida is within the listening range of True Oldies, and I mean, we're from the Treasure Coast down through the Florida Keys. But our radio stations also stream the program online, right? So you can listen to True Oldies on iHeartRadio, on your Alexa device. You know you got an Alexa. I got you an Alexa, right?
Yeah.
And for the past few months, there's been some glitches from time to time listening online. You even noticed it listening on your Alexa, listening to me before you came on the air. Remember, we talked about this a few weeks back. Yesterday, there were some technical issues with it too, and upper management, they got to the bottom of it, and they found out what the problem was. Why has now again, this is not on the radio stations, and this is not on YouTube. This is for those that listen to True Oldies on and by the way, the problem has been resolved. Okay, the issue has been fixed. But those of you that have been listening on iHeart, I got a call on the air yesterday with a listener in Delray Beach who was having a hard time listening to us on iHeartRadio. The signal was getting interrupted on the iHeartRadio app, and a lot of you listen on Alexa and other devices like Alexa. In fact, I listen on Alexa to True Oldies here at home. Steve, this is something I don't know anyone that this has happened to at any radio station anywhere, but it's been happening to us for months, and they found out what it is today. We have had so many people listening to us online, we crashed the server. It surpassed the server capabilities. That's how many people have been listening to us online at the radio station, through the radio station's online feeds. It has been fixed. It's been resolved. They increased the server abilities. But I have never heard of that happening to anybody at any radio station ever in the history of online streaming. So the problem's been fixed, guys. They found out what it was, and that is amazing. That's a lot of people listening to cause something like that happening. And I found out about it during the show yesterday around 8:30, but I didn't share it because I wanted to verify it because I've never heard of that happening before.
That's pretty exciting.
That is exciting, and I'm very proud of that. And
just in time for Armageddon.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. And it's amazing. Yeah. But anyway, back to this. Okay, so there's a lot happening, and also the president and the first lady went to the Kennedy Center event last night.
I saw some of that.
Did you see when they came into the presidential box?
Yes.
There was a standing ovation for the President of the United States and the First Lady, and they were chanting, "We love you, Mr. President." I mean, that is amazing. I mean, that's just absolutely amazing. When have you heard people, they were yelling, "We love you, President Trump." When have you heard people yell, sorry about that. When have you heard people yell, "We love you, President Biden," or any president? Really? That's an amazing thing, and that's great. That's just awesome.
He's an amazing guy, but he needs some rest. He's got to.
No, there's no time for that.
His feet. He's exhausted.
Well, no, no. Well, no time to rest. No time to rest.
He's losing his voice.
Well, I don't, other than when I'm on the air broadcasting, I don't talk too much because when you're not. But he's always doing press conferences and everything. You got to rest your voice. That's for sure.
He's an amazing person.
Well, yes. But there's a couple things that if you're on hold, stand by. We'll go to the calls in a few minutes. But there's a couple things that I want to share. These are things I brought up at the very beginning of the show, and I want to bring them up again and recap them because they're very, very important. We've got our great military parade on Saturday, the 250th anniversary of the United States Army, and we have this huge parade that's going on, which is pretty amazing, and I'm really worried about it.
Well worried.
The last time President Trump had an event in the National Mall, they set him up with January 6th, right? And yesterday, there's a few things going on that I'm concerned about. This parade, I'm very concerned about. I was watching a lot of press the last couple days, President Trump, Carolyn Levitt, and others. And the media keep asking President Trump and others in the administration questions. What if there's violence at the military parade? What if there's violence at the military parade? And the response from President Trump is, well, this is the Army. They'll be dealt with. The left are very well organized. They're, yes. And I found something out this morning right before I went on the air that I opened the show with at 6 that I'm going to recap and share in a few minutes. That was very concerning to me about what the Democrats are doing. And my big... I'm recommending do not go to Washington. Watch it on television. If you already have plans, stay home. Watch the parade on TV. It's going to be spectacular, and you'll probably see it better on TV anyway, right? Than you would there. It's like a football game. I hate going to football games in person. They're much better. You can see what's going on TV, right? I mean, that's me. But the left, Patrick Bet-David was on Fox yesterday, and he says they want another George Floyd. They don't want another George Floyd. They want another Kent State. The reporters asking questions about violence with the soldiers at the parade in L.A. and these other cities where they're going to be deployed, okay, they want another Kent State. And never forget.
I think they want more than Kent State.
Well, that's the powder keg, right? It's like, the Boston Massacre was a powder keg, right, for the revolution. Those students at Kent State instigated that by attacking the guardsmen at Kent State. Okay, and it was very tragic what happened there, and it's one of the most that photograph of the girl with that's one of the most historical American photographs ever taken, and it caused a lot of problems other than the deaths of the people that died, which was also tragic. And the reporters asking these questions about violence with the soldiers at the parade or the soldiers and Marines in L.A. and other cities, to me that's like foreshadowing, and the left are gearing up to try to create that. That's what they want.
Within the last hour, you gave a very eloquent speech suggesting that people stay home no matter where they are in the country
yes.
on Saturday. And
yes.
I think that was excellent advice.
Well, after the break... Yes, Steve?
Well, that was it.
Yeah, okay.
I just wanted people to
heed my advice. Stay home. Yeah. I found something out right before I went on the air today that I opened the show with at 6 that I'm going to share with you again and recap it after the break. For those of you that weren't tuned in at 6:05 a.m. Shame on you guys. Set your alarm for 5:55 a.m. and you won't miss a word. But I want to share this because it's very important because there's something going on in our community. And by the way, no matter where you are in America, what the liberals are planning on Saturday is probably pretty close to you. But first, I want to ask you guys this question, and this may be, Steve, the most important question you and I ever ask on this program. Do you or someone you know or love suffer from neuropathy? If you do, if you suffer from neuropathy, if you have a family member who suffer from neuropathy, I don't have to tell you, it's living torture. Their life is miserable. They're in pain all the time. They probably don't leave the bed, you know, and they stay in bed because it's just so.
Very debilitating.
Yeah, it is. I don't know if neuropathy is an official disability, but I guess most people that have it are older and on Social Security, so you know what I mean. So they don't apply for disability benefits. But it's god-awful. It's painful. You've got the dizziness. You know, you always hear these stories, old people falling down all the time. They probably have neuropathy because dizziness, loss of balance is one of the symptoms of neuropathy. I knew some of my great-grandparents. I don't know if did you know any of your great-grandparents, Steve?
I knew them.
You knew that you had great-grandparents alive when you were a kid?
Yes, when I was young.
Yeah, me too. I had great-grandparents alive too. I knew two of my grandmothers and things. But anyway, I had one grandmother who was falling down all the time. This was like in the 70s. And I don't know, but looking back, I bet she had neuropathy. She was always getting dizzy and falling down. And she was always breaking something, right? Her pelvis or this, her arm, or that, because she'd fall. You know, and that's one of the symptoms of neuropathy is dizziness, which causes you to fall down. The tingling in the hands and feet, all the symptoms of neuropathy, they're god-awful. And Steve had all the symptoms. And you went to your doctor, you even went to a specialist, a neurologist. They said there's no treatment for neuropathy, that's your life, go home, get used to it, okay? Well, we found Lighthouse Medical in Pompano. Lighthouse Medical has a treatment for neuropathy. They have a treatment that works, and you were treated 3 years ago, maybe next month. It was either June or July, 3 years ago. So it's either this month or next month will be the 3-year anniversary of you, Steve, being treated for your neuropathy. And here we are 3 years later, your symptoms have not returned. So if you or a loved one suffer from neuropathy, call Lighthouse Medical. They can help you no matter where you are in America. It's a no-charge consultation if you mention you heard them on the Steve Kane Show. 754-222-6642. 754-222-6642. That's 754-222-6642. And online, lighthousemedicalcenter.com. We'll be right back. All right. Yeah, I want to tell you about the No Kings thing, what I found out about that today, what I suspect, okay? It's pretty bad. You know about that one, Steve?
Which one?
The No Kings protest?
No.
Okay, I'll tell you about it when we get back, because this is a bad one. I'll tell you all about it when we get back.
Okay.
All right. Okay, I'm going to put you on hold for a minute. Hold on. Okay. All right. You there, Steve?
Yes.
Okay, hold on. We got a couple minutes. Okay, I'm going to put you on hold just for a second, Steve. Hold on. All right, Steve, you there?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to take some of these calls, and then I'll tell you about this no kings thing, because what I saw on TV this morning, no one will pick up on this, and it's very important.
Well, let's
do what?
You got this thing set up. Let's go with what you got.
Instead of you wanted me to tell you about that or take the calls? What do you want to do?
Yes, I know. Don't take the calls right now, because
okay.
All right. A great build up to this thing. Let's tell the story.
Okay. Okay, if you guys are on hold, stand by. We got a lot of people on hold, but
I'm standing.
One minute, we'll be back. Long break. Welcome back, everyone. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. Steve Kane is here. I'm Brian Craig. Okay, so let me tell you about this No King, Steve. This is the liberal nationwide protest that is the response, the real-time, same-time response to the military birthday parade in D.C. It's called No Kings, and they're calling Trump a king, okay? And everyone, and everyone knows the Democrats are funding this, but it's really big. It's in every city. And I saw something this morning that let me know how big of a deal this is. I had not heard of the No Kings events until Monday or Tuesday. I can't remember. Monday or Tuesday, a lady called in who was listening to us in Miramar, which is down in Dade County, guys. You know, you non-Floridians, that's like, it's Miami, you know, a suburb of Miami. She's never called before, never talked to her before, and I haven't heard her since, and she brought this up, and I'd never heard of it. And after the phone call, I was talking about it, and I said, you know, she's probably one of the organizers, and she's trying to get the free publicity. But that's okay. It's everyone's talking about it in America today. This is a nationwide event. It's in every city in America. In fact, Steve, Richie called. He lives in one of the most MAGA towns in all of Florida, Sebastian, Florida. There's even one there. They have them throughout Broward, Palm Beach, and Miami. And it's very well organized and funded by the Democrats. And then I saw...
You're talking about, it's not funded by the Democrats. It's funded by us, the taxpayers. These are the NGOs. These are the...
Yes, the NGOs.
Yes.
Well, but then
these are the organizations that live off tax dollars.
Yes.
It was called, the reason we're as heavily in debt as we are as a nation is because all these people get government subsidies to cause mischief and create riots.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And you know, for something on Monday or Tuesday, I follow the news. You guys a lot. For me not to have heard about it, and everyone's talking about it like 3 days later, I watch a lot of the local television news. I like the local news. I always watch it because, well, I like the local weather, but I like the crime stories. You know, I'm a true crime fan, and there's no better place to watch true crime than your local news, right? And it's true crime near you, and I always watch it. But local television news, a huge chunk of what they call news stories are really infomercials, paid advertisements.
Exactly right.
And what happens a lot of times, I give you some obvious examples. Sometimes you'll see a story, a woman has opened up a new pizza joint, right? And they do this news story that looks like a human interest story on her pizza joint. And she's a single mom, and she grew up on the streets of New York, and her daddy was from the old country, and now she's tossing pies here. That's a commercial.
Right.
That's a commercial. And local news has always done this. Just now that I mention that, if you're not aware of it, you'll see it every time you turn on the local news. Well, I was watching local news this morning in South Florida, and it was a Broward County station. And they did the No Kings events in our cities are not news stories yet because they have not happened. Okay? If the local news is at an event and covers these liberal lunatics at an event, that's a news story. What I saw, and I looked, other news stations around the country, or local news, are doing the same thing. Local news went to the spot where the event will be on Saturday. They covered the story, the background of the No Kings, and then they say, I'm not going to tell you guys where it is, by the way.
It's highly organized. I mean, people are not aware of what's going on, but this whole thing is being financed by the left.
Yeah, and
that's what Elon was trying to get rid of.
That's right.
All this run with tax dollars. That's been the ripple through the years,
and
nobody knew.
And when I saw this local news story here, they go to the reporter, and I'm not going to tell you where it's at, okay? And don't go to any of these No King events. She's standing. It's at a place I go often throughout my entire life here in South Florida. She says, and at the spot I'm standing, and she gives the exact, she tells you exactly how to find it. It's this far from this major intersection. This is where the No Kings event will be on Saturday. And I realized this isn't a news story. This is another one of those infomercials, like the lady opening up the pizza shop. And what that tells me is they have Madison Avenue type advertising agency working on this.
Absolutely. They've got a budget of millions of dollars.
Yes.
Across the country.
Yes, and what they're marketing is this is some grassroots event that just sprung up since Tuesday in every American city, an uprising against what Trump's doing.
And they're all ultra-liberal groups looking to destroy Trump.
And what they're trying to do is to get MAGA people to go so they can have an incident. They want a Kent State. They want a Rodney King. They want a George Floyd, okay? They're trying to, do not go to Washington for the parade. Do not go to any of these No King events in your neighborhoods around the country. Stay home.
In 2 words, stay home.
That's right. Do not go to any of these events. I will not, and you should not. They are trying to set us up. And these endless questions to the president, what if there's violence at the parade, is foreshadowing, okay? Now, they may try to do something or not. They may try something, it gets stopped, and we never know about it.
And they may not wait for the weekend. They may start tonight.
Yeah. So,
I woke up last night in the middle of the night. I thought the riots were over and they were only starting.
In L.A.? No, the curfew, well, they just go outside the curfew zone. You know, I mean, it's ridiculous. All right. We only have one opening on the board, okay? Let's take our break. It's the Steve Kane Show. We'll be right back. Steve, you there? Steve, you there? I lost Steve. Okay, I lost you. Hold on. All right, are you there? Steve?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, stand by. We're in break. I lost you during the break.
Stick with this.
Yeah, I will. We'll take these calls because I'm sure they're on it.
I can't hear you.
Okay, hold on.
I hear you, Brian.
Is that better? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sure the calls are about this.
Well, if they're not, we'll keep them on this track.
Now, you want to stay away from all these things. They're definitely, they're gearing up. They're trying to create an incident.
Yeah, I think
They've done that already.
Yeah, but they wanted to go across the country outside of L.A.
That's correct, and probably the culmination of the event is probably Saturday and Sunday, and if then.
Yeah. All right, we got 2 minutes till we're back. 2 minutes.
If they can take it longer than that, they'll take it longer than that.
We'll be back in 2 minutes. We got about 30 seconds.
Okay.
We are back. It's the Steve Kane Show. Steve Kane is here. I'm Brian Craig. Our number, 1-888-465-2631.
By the way, the name of these organizations, so you'll recognize it when you see it, NGO stands for Non-Governmental Organization.
Yep, that's right.
And they're all tax-free, tax-exempt organizations.
Yeah, well, that needs to change.
One of the biggest ones is the Catholic Church.
Well, the Catholic, yeah, well, you know. Okay, well, let's go to the phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, this is Steve out of Iowa.
Okay.
Hey, Steve.
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Barely.
I can hear you fine. Go ahead.
Okay, my question is how is, when someone steals basically around $40 million and then gets pardoned, how is that setting an example?
Oh, so you called me earlier with this question, and now you're trying to ask it in a different way? You think you'll get a better answer?
My original question, and you cut me off and
yeah,
didn't
okay,
answer.
two things. I ended the call because it was time for a break. Second, it's one call.
Okay,
so
just answer the question.
well, I'm not your puppet. I'll get to it in due time. And it's also.
You asked me to call.
Excuse me. No. It's also one call per day. But you're new to the program, so we'll let you get by with the second. You're talking about these reality people that I know nothing about. When people get pardoned by any president, whether it's President Trump, Biden, Clinton, Reagan, what do all pardoned people have in common? All of them.
They're crooks.
They're guilty of what they've done in most every instance. Most everyone who's ever received a pardon has been guilty. Like those Puerto Rican terrorists that Bill Clinton pardoned to help Hillary in New York. So I don't understand. So I don't understand why you're taking issue with guilty people being pardoned. You don't pardon the not guilty. The guilty are the ones that get convicted and are pardoned.
Because in one breath, when you say you're here to make America great again and watch me lead by example, and then on the same token,
no, you're making no sense, sir.
That's so weak. The biggest problem. Because who cares?
Thanks for your call. You got nothing to offer.
Yeah, there you go. All right.
Have a good weekend.
Yes. Oh, boy. Oh, I tell you. He's talking about those reality people. Who cares? I don't know why. Maybe they got pardoned. You know, the daughter, they probably got pardoned because the daughter made a lot of friends, and she made a good case that they were over-sentenced, that their penalties were too harsh for the crime. And she made a good, I think that's probably why they got the pardon. Who cares? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? But I know what, the pardon wasn't done with an auto pen, and the president knew about it. Yeah, go ahead, caller.
Good morning, IB and Broward. Hey, Steve.
Hey,
Hey, I was disappointed the last 2 years. You wasn't on the radio for Trump's birthday. You encouraged me to sing Happy Birthday to Trump 2 years ago, and then you didn't show up last year. If Mike the board up could find that even before you died.
Wait, you want Mike the board op? You think that he has an audio recording of you from a year ago singing Happy Birthday to the president?
It applies to you too, Brian, because you would know where it is. I want the audience.
No, I know.
What
you? Are you kidding me? Are you serious? You think we have a tape of you singing Happy Birthday to the president? We think you're Marilyn Monroe?
No, that was pretty funny. You and I having that show was pretty funny. I wanted Steve to.
No, there's no tape. There's no tape of that. There's no tape of that. Oh my goodness.
Moving right along.
Yeah,
oh my goodness.
They are forcing Trump's hand right now. Anything good for us, the USA, they want to destroy. They're seeing what they want to do by having this parade showing the power of the military of this country. They want to be sitting in that chair, as Trump is sitting in that chair. So they cannot use the word dictator. So they changed it to king. He wants to be the ruler and the king. They are jealous of this parade, and they hate what's going on because it makes America look good, and they want to just simply stomp on it like burning the American flag.
Yeah.
You know? And Nancy Pelosi, how dare Nancy Pelosi said yesterday that, I wanted to bring in the National Guard, but Trump didn't let me do it.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's ridiculous.
All right, appreciate the call. All right, yeah.
What was true then is true now. The fact is that they're desperate. They're still desperate. They understand they're on the defensive. They understand that this is backfired, and they're trying to right their ship.
Yep. All right, let's go back to the phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Morning, Stephen Bryan, State Day from Mass.
Hey, JJ.
Hey, guys.
JJ, what's up?
Steve. Well, just getting along another day, and I got to say, I'm happy for you guys. Yesterday, Brian said, off during one of the breaks, he said he was just pretty damn excited about something. He said, I got really good news. Then he said, I can't talk about it. And that's not something that Brian does. I mean, that's very, very rare. So I was pretty excited. And then I find out it's server capacity problem for you guys. And you know what? That's a problem to have. That is hard evidence of success. So
yeah, the reason I didn't share it yesterday is I wanted to confirm it, and I wanted to tell Steve, and I wanted to confirm it. And to have so many people listening on Alexa and all those devices and the iHeartRadio to the True Oldies station on those, where we've been crashing the server apparently for months.
That guy called in yesterday and said the problems, and you were going back with him like no, and he was pretty adamant about it. And then you looked into it, and I mean, listen, you can't fake that. There's a lot of people that can buy bots to do this, but you can't fake that. So it's you guys you're getting out there.
No, I mean I do not know another radio station that has had that happen ever. It is a historic moment in radio history. Certainly in this market in Florida, man, it's something to be proud of. That's like something they would put in a movie, right? Like we got so many people listening they can't listen. I mean, it's exciting.
It's good stuff for you guys. And for, and for MAGA, for the country, quite honestly, in my opinion. And Steve, you had mentioned about talking about these NGOs, non-governmental organizations, and finding out that we're sort of through our tax dollars tagging the money through different agencies and through all these NGOs, and just coming right back into you know, these protests, you know, like this No Kings.
It all fits into a tapestry. It all fits into one big picture. When you realize what's going on, this whole thing across the country has been organized.
Well, but let me tell you, this is my concern, and this is why I want everybody to stay home, watch everything on TV, the parade, everything. President Trump was set up on January 6th, okay? He was set up by having that speech in the mall. And if they could ever find someone connected to the spark of that idea of him giving that speech on January 6th is a traitor. And I'm really worried about this on Saturday. That's why I'm not there, and I'm telling everybody not to be there. Watch it on television. You'll see it better anyway. And this No Kings BS they're doing, that they have this, there's no doubt in my mind seeing it on the local news. This is where you want to be Saturday for the protest. Come on.
Yeah.
Advertising
sort of
agency.
Like with what you said about Trump and that J6 and that speech, you know, I never really, you know, I've kind of been a little bit on the 50-50 side of it, but I'm 100% now in agreement with you that I believe it's sort of like, you know, they drew, it's sort of like in a military action, you let the people come. You know, let them come. You bring them in, and then there's the ambush. And that's, I believe, with that was planned. I mean, with Pelosi, with so many different people, finding out who all those people are.
Well, you know, if Bongino could stop staring at the walls and do something, find out who broke the windows and climbed through at the Capitol and open up the doors, you know, and let the J6 MAGA people in. You know, come on. You know, and I had a guy call me yesterday or the day before, Steve. You may have heard this call. He was there, and he said he saw a guy at the top of the ladder at the Capitol saying, "They climb, they can't stop all of us." That's Antifa. That's an Antifa. That's not a MAGA. And Dan Bongino and Kash Patel, I'm starting to think they're posers. They're fake tough guys, fake cops, right?
You know, listen, I'm not in agreement with you on.
Well, stop doing Rogan interviews and get to the bottom of some stuff.
I know you're pretty feverish about it, Brian. I just disagree with you on that part. I mean, listen, somebody calling you obtuse, I disagree with them. I mean, that was like 3
years ago. I saw Bongino. I finally got to see him in one of these interviews, and I got to tell you, I've always been a big fan of Dan. You know, we kind of semi-know him a little bit from his work down here with the Clear Channel, and I've always liked his work, but he's a wreck. I don't know what
he is.
I don't know what happened to him, but he's a mess.
Going into that discussion, that's another talk that would take a while for me as far as how I feel.
Well, listen, I gotta run. We'll get, but I do appreciate the call. And you know, Steve, I saw him on that on that Fox thing. But I want to first tell you, you know, it is summertime, and at the swimming pools and the beach. MyPillow has an incredible deal going on. You know, Mike Lindell has a whole new line, Steve, of pool and beach towels, and also beach attire for the adults and the kids. And right now, there's a beach sale going on with your name, the promo code Kane at checkout, K-A-N-E. It's 50% off all the beach wear. And Mike Lindell has everything, right, that you need for the summer. Beach towels, beach blankets, lounger wear towels, kids towels. He's got it all. 50% off with our promo code Kane at checkout, K-A-N-E. And like the towel sets for the showers, they're incredibly absorbent, very well made. These are towels that actually work. They come in many different patterns and designs. The ones for the kids are amazing. You will love them. And if you don't have a beach where you live and you don't have a swimming pool, it's still the summer. I didn't have, you know, when I was a little kid in Ohio, we didn't have a beach and we didn't have a pool, but we had a garden hose and we played with that all summer, Steve. We were soaking wet, and a beach towel would have come in handy. But you know, you can also use the beach towels in the shower, and they're great. So go to mypillow.com and take advantage, 50% off the beach sale going on with our promo code Kane at checkout, K-A-N-E. You can also order by phone, toll-free, 1-800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879. Promo code Kane, K-A-N-E. All right, I'm going to put you on hold, Steve, and when we come back, it'll be Gold Report time, and then we'll continue with the issues after that. All right, let's go. We'll be right back after this. Hey, William, hold on. Steve, you there?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to conference William in, so hold on. All right, William, stand by. We have, let me see, hold on. We have 45 seconds, and we'll be back.
Okay.
Welcome back, everyone. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. Steve Kane's here. I'm Brian Craig, and it's time to check in with William Youngerman from the offices of William Youngerman Incorporated in Boca with the Morning Gold and Precious Metals Report. William Youngerman, how do the metals look today?
Metal's looking great, Brian, just as strong as can be. We just can't believe it. This gold is getting ready to maybe break through and make all-time new record highs. We're getting up close to that $3,400 number this morning. Yesterday, we saw gold close up $31.80 after trading in a range of $3,315 all the way up to $3,361, closing out today at $3,353.60, up $31.80. Silver was down 24 cents, but well above the $46 number, $36.19 on the close. Platinum, big winner, up another $32 yesterday at $12.57. Palladium up $11 at $1,070. Overnight, we saw gold trade in a range of $3,338 all the way up to $3,391 this morning. And right now we're at $3,386.60. That's up $33. Silver down 4 cents right now at $36.15. Again, strong silver above $36 these days, and it looks like it's going higher.
Wow.
Platinum up $3 at $1,260. Palladium down $14 at $1,056. So metals looking good. Gold, silver, platinum, all very strong markets.
Now, you don't just sell the metals, you buy them. And of course you buy the bullion, you buy the silver, the gold, and the platinum and such, and those coin forms and the bars we talk about all the time. But people that have old, ugly, out-of-date, broken jewelry and things lying around gathering dust, they have literally gold mines and silver mines in their house that they don't even realize, right? What are some of the things people are bringing in, William?
Yeah, people are bringing in all kinds of jewelry, watches, things that they just don't wear anymore, broken jewelry, and they're absolutely amazed at what they're getting for their jewelry. I mean, they look at us like, you've got to be kidding. That little bracelet is so much money,
Yeah.
And so, they're going through their drawers and their safety deposit boxes and bringing in all kinds of stuff and being amazed at how much they're able to get for things and raising money for really good things, including vacations these days.
Sure. And, don't worry about the condition of the jewelry. If it's broken, if it's ugly, whatever. Yeah. If it's the metals, it's money in your hand. So give William Youngerman a call, and you must have a lot of fun doing that. I'd love to see the look on people's faces. His number, toll-free, opens up at 10 a.m., 855-FLA-3782. 855-FLA. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That's Barry Siegel's number, guys. I'm sorry. I was looking. I'm so amazed. I'm having a hard time seeing all these dollar signs in front of my eyes, William, with the gold prices. 1-800. Sorry, guys. Yeah, I'm 54. Maybe I got the Alzheimer's coming on. I don't know. This is William Youngerman's number. That was Attorney Barry Siegel's number. 1-800-327-5010. I got it right that time, I think. 1-800-327-5010. And his address is 150 East Palmetto Park Road on the first floor of the Bank of America building, just east of US 1 Federal Highway on the south side of Palmetto Park Road. And find William Youngerman's phone number and address on his website, williamyoungerman.com. All right, William Youngerman, we'll finish out the week tomorrow.
great day.
All right, take care. Take care. I don't know, Steve. Maybe I'm getting that Alzheimer's. I don't know. Getting like Biden. No, but, well, let's just take another call or two, and then we'll get back to it. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Brian from Deerfield.
Hey, Brian.
Hey, Brian, what's up?
Well, I tell you, first off, congratulations. Crashing the system because of excessive demand.
That's insane.
That is incredible. That is incredible. The only thing I've heard even close to that is maybe they have a pay-per-view heavyweight championship fight, and the system goes down for one night because of demand. But you guys are doing this on a daily basis.
Yeah, and I want to tell you guys that what that involved are the live streaming from our radio stations, the True Oldies Live. Now the problem has been resolved, and the reason I bring it up is not just. I mean, who else is going to bring it up if I don't share it? I mean, I was so excited. Right. I was so excited, you know, and you know. But I know I've been getting calls from listeners over the last few months that they've been having difficulties listening online, and then we got senior management involved yesterday, and they got to the bottom of it.
Wow.
And I was blown away.
My wife was telling me she was having trouble getting it online too. But,
that's why.
I mean, that isn't. I think there's a T-shirt in there somewhere, don't you?
I don't know. I mean, I just you know, it's amazing. But the server problem has been corrected, guys. I want you to know, and I'm also sharing it because I want you to listen that way, because it's obviously very. And that's, by the way, people listening on Alexas, other devices, the iHeartRadio, anyone listening to the True Oldies live stream. That's what we crashed.
Yeah.
And I don't listen. I don't know anyone that's happened to in radio. Anyone.
No, never heard of it ever. Even on television specials, nothing like that. I mean,
well, this is it.
Basis, yeah. This thing coming up on Saturday, I'm hoping that this show and this patriotic outpouring in Washington will just dwarf all these the King's gathering and stuff like that.
Yeah, but guys, you know, listen. The Democrats are mobilizing very professionally from sea to shining sea with this No Kings thing, and I'm not going to tell you where they're at. Okay, a lot of people stay away. Absolutely. The Steve Kane show, Steve Kane, Brian, stay away. Okay, where I want to be on the record. I'm sure there's some near the parade, and I like I told the caller before the break. Trump was set up on January 6th to give that speech out there. He was set up by somebody in his circle. Now, I don't know if they're still with him or not, but somebody connected to the original idea of that was involved. It could have been Pence, I don't know, or his staff.
No doubt.
But I don't want a replay of that. And yesterday, when I heard these reporters ask the president, what if there's violence with the army? And he's like, well, they're the army. They'll be dealt with. We don't need that. We don't want the army dealing with that. And
I agree. They're looking for a massive Kent State situation or something like that. But I just hope it comes off great, and I'm sure it's going to be a great show. But you know, these people from the left are just so pathetic. They just want to ruin everything. But what kills me, our tax dollars are helping to finance that through the. You know, the USA and all that. That's infuriating.
But you know what, though? With USA ID shut down, they're scraping the bottom of the barrel for the money. They're running out of cash, so they're using a lot of what they got left with this.
I think they're starting to pass the hat amongst all the lunatics, to tee these things up to get some publicity for it. But you know, they're just a pathetic group. So I hope they get marginalized on Saturday, and I hope this event in Washington is just spectacular. And
I hope so too. But I don't want any problems. But I'm just.
No, I don't.
I just, you know. Yeah. All right. Appreciate the call.